Matt Nass's Aetherworks Marvel deck. While Matt Nass didn't particularly do well in the standard portion, there were plenty of Aetherworks Marvel decks during Pro Tour Kaladesh that did get 7 wins, and this deck is really, really sweet. It's just looking to produce out an early Aetherworks Marvel that is going to produce an Emrakul, the Promised End, or an Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger. This deck is producing a lot of energy. It has a lot of life gain in the form of Woodweaver's Puzzle Knot, and some board sweepers in the form of Kozilek's Return. We'll see how this deck does. Here we are with Matt Nass's Aetherworks Marvel deck. We're going to go on the play for game 1. And I assume we keep this hand. We have 2 energy immediately, perfect mana, and these contingency plans are actually going to help filter our deck. So we're going to want to cast Attune first, of course, and then I guess these contingency plans are going to hopefully put the correct cards on top. And yeah, I have not played with this deck before. I'm not sure what colors I am supposed to get. I guess I want more green so that we can play the Vessel of Nascency and use it in the same turn. And everything else looks single colors, so yeah. Let's get another forest and pass the turn here. Next turn we can start using Contingency Plan to hopefully put things like Kozilek's Return in the graveyard and draw some marvels. Ooh, Glint Nest Crane is a good one to help do that. I think I might actually Contingency Plan here first. Set up my library, hopefully hit a marvel in the first few cards. And I think we actually just put all of these in the graveyard? Question mark? We could leave the Emrakul second from the top so that we draw a random, or so that we draw one of these cards and then leave Emrakul on top and continue to Contingency Plan. That might actually be better. And I have enough lands here, but I think we might want to keep the hub. So let's put the Meltdown, the Forest, and the Forest in the graveyard. Hit OK. And then put the Emrakul and the hub on top. So that means we're going to draw the hub next turn. I can hopefully Contingency Plan for the Marvel. And we know that Emrakul is on top of our library already, so we can set this up in a way that's pretty awesome, honestly. Opponent playing red, white, blue. So the Jeskai list, which is probably not a good matchup for us. This has a lot of counters, if I remember correctly, which means our Marvel might not be resolving this particular game. But let's go for another Contingency Plan. Okay, we hit 2 Eldrazi, 2 Puzzle Knots, and a land. And we definitely don't need this Spirebluff Canal. We have 3 card types in our graveyard already. We're going to have 4 when we cast this Glass Blowers or Woodweaver's Puzzle, or rather put one of them into the graveyard. I think we want to do that. We have 4 energy right now. We're looking for, I believe, 3 more? I think the Marvel is 4 to cast, or rather 8 to use. This is kind of tough. Let's see. Okay, so the Marvel is actually 6 to use, so we only need 3 more, which the Woodweaver's Puzzle Knot would give us. I believe the Emrakul is actually not very good versus the Jeskai list, but Ulamog is great. So I think I might leave the Woodweaver's Puzzle Knot on top so that we get that 3 important energy. And then maybe leave Ulamog on top as well. This is kind of interesting. I guess we could bottom the Ulamog. Or rather, put Ulamog in the graveyard since there are quite a few copies of each already. So let's leave the Woodweavers on top for us to draw. And then next turn we can Woodweavers plus Contingency Plan. Although, again, versus the control deck, I don't think this matchup is supposed to be very good for us. I believe they are supposed to, well, just dominate us, because now they have access to things like Void Shatter on this turn. So instead of Contingency Plan, I think I might actually just Glint Nest Crane and see if it resolves. We hit a Marvel, and we did put a Return on the bottom, which is nice since we don't want that in this matchup. And let's cast out our Woodweaver's Puzzle Knot. Now, unless the opponent taps out, I don't think this Marvel is going to resolve. All right, in response, anticipate. But yeah, this is not a good matchup, and this is something that you could very, very easily see in Standard quite frequently now. We're going to have to hope that the opponent, for some reason, taps out, but knowing the opponent's deck, they have access to almost exclusively cards that can be cast at instant speed, so we are going to need to draw some nice ones. Or maybe we can just hardcast in Emrakul, truth be told, because I'm pretty sure this Marvel would not resolve should I cast it out. We're going to go to combat here, though, first. Attack with the Crane. And, well, I have to cast something this turn. I am positive this is going to run into a removal spell, but I don't want to let the opponent just Glimmer of Genius for free. And as expected, a negate takes care of our Aetherworks Marvel. Again, we have 5 card types in our graveyard right now, which means Emrakul only costs 8. So I'm 2 mana away from being able to do that. Alright, looks like a Harness Lightning is going to take care of our Crane. Opponent's missing land drops, though, which is probably a good sign for us. Alright, another land. Let's go for another contingency plan here. And there's that Emrakul. Okay, so we're going to want to put these lands in the graveyard, but I think I am very content keeping the Vessel and the Emrakul on top. So let's put the Emrakul and then the Vessel on top. Because the opponent might not counter the Vessel. And again, Emrakul is not great against the Jeskai list. But, them not casting a Glimmer of Genius end of turn is a nice sign. I don't think there's too much reason not to use the Woodweaver's Puzzle Knot here, although I could be mistaken. I don't think we need this artifact on the battlefield, and I think the extra energy and just using it efficiently right now is worth it. Alright. I'm going to cast out the Vessel, but I'm not actually going to use it, since we're just going to naturally draw the Emrakul. And we'll just pass the turn here. Because we know we're drawing Emrakul and we're so close to casting her anyways, we'd rather just pass the turn out. Draw her naturally, and then use Vessel the following turn. Alright, anticipate from the opponent. Presumably holding up more counters. And again, the thing is the Emrakul is not going to be very good, especially since the opponent doesn't have access to too much mana. I'm not going to be able to do something terrifyingly gross versus them. Looks like they appear to be missing another land, though, and going to discard is a good sign for me. Immolating Glare the discard. Okay, so we'll draw Emrakul, who currently costs, yes, 8. So we need 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we need a land. But I'm going to go ahead and just pass the turn here again. End of turn, we'll use the Vessel of Nascency. And the opponent's still continuing just to pass the turn, which is great for us. I do have to respond here first, though, by using the Vessel before they go to discard, which is a little bit unfortunate. And, problem with taking the Marvel is that it just gets countered, but then again, so does Emrakul. So, question being, what do I want to take here? I suppose a forest is fine. We don't need the Marvel anymore. In fact, our game plan at this point is just to hardcast everything. 6 card types in the graveyard now. Anyway, so we still want land so that we're potentially able to hardcast Ulamog. So, you know what? Instead of casting out the Emrakul here into an open counter, I'm just going to continue to pass. The opponent hasn't been doing anything, and they're discarding cards. This is completely fine with me. If I'm able to set up a turn where I can cast Eldrazi into Eldrazi, then I think we're going to be in great shape. Alright, Woodweaver's Puzzle Knot. Again, if they want to counter this, I'm more than happy to let them. And in fact, if they went to counter that, I could actually hardcast the Emrakul to follow it up, which would mean we get a 13-13 on our battlefield. Alright, there's a Glimmer of Genius. So this is probably going to draw the opponent out of some of their land issues. Now remember, this is going to trigger the Kozilek's Return as well, but the opponent doesn't have too many things to kill with Kozilek's Return. They have Torrential Gearhulks, they have the Wandering Fumarole. So, We have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We are 1 land away from hard casting Ulamog. And the opponent is still discarding a Quarantine Field this time. All right. And again, I'm just going to pass the turn here. Until I draw another reasonable threat, I don't think there's any reason for me to cast out the Emrakul, because I could just draw blanks afterwards. All right, Archangel Avacyn is more of a reason for me to go ahead and cast Emrakul the following turn. This deck has access to a lot of Eldrazi, and we've only seen 3. 1 Emrakul in the graveyard, 1 Ulamog in the graveyard, 1 Emrakul in hand, so... I'm hoping... Well, again, I have a lot of time because we've used these Wood Weaver's Puzzle Knots. Oh, and there it is! Alright, so let's chain Emrakuls here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is almost certainly going to get countered. And I get to actually kill Archangel Avacyn with the Kozilek's Return now that's in the yard. So, good value here. Void Shatter on the Emrakul. Of course, that's just fine. I will use the ability to kill Avacyn, and we are going to get the opponent's next turn. Alright, so they did have access to a ton. Wow, they just have all the Torrential Gear Hulks. Okay, so... Thing is... Oh, no, we are in a good spot. I was going to say, thing is, the removal doesn't actually hit the Gear Hulk because it's things like Fumigate, but we can Harness Lightning the Torrential Gear Hulk, can't we? That card would be... Yeah, because this is... Oh, no, this is when Torrential... Sorry, this is not a cast trigger. This is when it enters the battlefield. So we can go ahead and Torrential Gear Hulk here if we want to, but that means... That means the opponent can Fumigate or Immolating Glare our next Emrakul, right? Let's see. So I'm taking their turn. They're taking a turn. Oh, right. No, they're just going to pass again with counters and Gear Hulk open. Well, never mind. I lied. We are not sitting that great. In fact, what is the best play then? It might just be Fumigate. Oh, no, sorry. This is only instant. I'm stupid. This is only instant. Oh, and this is not the sacrifice effect. Wow, okay. I am going crazy. Our gameplay here is to cast the Torrential Gear Hulk for sure. And we want to hit Harness Lightning. I could hit Void Shatter. If I hit Void Shatter... Wait, you may cast... No, never mind, I can't. So yeah, we're still going to have the issue of the opponent holding up Gear Hulk and Void Shatters, but we get to Harness Lightning their own, which is nice. Not the best, but hey, it does something. And we won't play the land for the opponent. So they have Inspiring Vantage, Port Town, 2 Void Shatters, and a Gear Hulk in their hand. So we're still not sitting very good, but at least we did a little bit of work there, and well, the next Emrakul can do what? Actually, the next Emrakul doesn't do anything. Unless the opponent's tapping out for some reason here. No, they are not. Yeah, because if I Emrakul again, they just counter it with Torrential Gear Hulk, Void Shattering, and then they're left with a Void Shatter and some random cards in their hand, so that's not good enough. And because that's the case, I guess I could just wait again. This doesn't actually do anything for me. Alright, let's thin our deck with a tune. And I don't actually have any basics left. So we're looking to draw the double Ulamog. That's our game plan right now. But even still, I don't think we're in a good spot. If nothing else, the opponent can just Gear Hulk right now and recast like their Glimmer of Genius. So yeah, we've hit one of our worst matchups, but hey, you know, at least we cast Emrakul once, probably twice this game. But like I was mentioning before, this is just a really poor matchup for us. Any of the control decks that are casting things at instant speed. Between the Jeskai list and like the Grixis list, this deck is not presenting enough threats. This particular build, anyways. All right. So the opponent did go ahead, in fact, Glimmer of Genius. And pass the turn back to me. I'm going to go ahead and just promise end. Show me Emrakul. Show me the goodies in their hand. Not frequently you cast Emrakul the Promised End twice and end up losing, but we'll see what the opponent can wreak havoc on themselves. Alright, so this is only opponent's creatures. Dovin Bond. Yeah, we're in a bad spot. So we can cast like Glimmer of Genius and then counter it. I think we want to cast Stasis Snare. I think we want to cast Stasis Snare and then Void Shatter it. At least that way the opponent doesn't have any answers to my Ulamog, if that's the case. So let's cast Stasis Snare and counter it. Oh, no, wait. Do I have enough mana to... No, we don't. We only have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So I can't cast 3 spells this turn. Because I could just Stasis Snare for no value and then cast one of the other cards and Void Shatter it, but we're 1 mana short here. So let's Stasis Snare and Void Shatter it using energy. Okay. I guess tap down the opponent for no reason and then pass the turn. Yeah, still sitting pretty poor. And we are going to deck before the opponent does as well. Funny enough. But, you know what? An Ulamog could potentially work this game. If the opponent doesn't draw anything off Glimmer of Genius or Dovin Bond, then, I mean, that's very unlikely, of course, but we could exile the Gearhulk, exile the Fumarole, and 1 attack from an Ulamog is big business. They didn't cast anything, though. And we just bought some more time with the Woodweaver's Puzzle Knot, so it looks like the opponent's going to go for another Glimmer here. Not much we can do about that. Sit back and shrug. I like how this is playing out exactly like a lot of the matches at the Pro Tour, though. And while this deck is sweet, yeah, it is very, very susceptible to the opponent's type of deck. Avacyn doing some more work here against us. I mean, if we draw an Ulamog, we can exile both of their creatures, but then we're going to have to also hope that the opponent doesn't have any more counters, doesn't have any more removal. We're also just dead in 2 turns. Alright, here comes the Dovin Bond. Gain 2, draw a card. Opponent still has Glimmer of Genius in their hand, if I recall. Alright, we'll gain 3. That is not what we're looking for. This only hits artifacts, so it doesn't actually hit Ulamog. And yeah, we're going to have to take the Marvel, I guess, and hope it resolves. Looks like no love here for us, as the opponent drew its Summary Dismissal. Okay. Wow, that actually would have been completely gross versus our Ulamog. That would have been the nuts versus Ulamog. So I'm actually kind of glad we hit the Marvel there instead, because now we still have the chance at drawing Ulamog and exiling the opponent's creatures. Whereas beforehand, if they had countered Ulamog and exiled all, things on the stack, then we were just wrecked. 5-9. We're going to fall down to 2 life here if the Wandering Fumarole also attacks. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. To 2 we go. And we need to draw Ulamog and have the opponent have nothing. Step 1? Nope. So we'll concede this game and go on to a game 2. Ceremonious Rejection counters the Torrential Gearhulks. 4 Dispels are something we definitely need. Meltdowns are something we need to take out. Negate comes in for sure. These Kozilek's returns are actually quite poor versus this opponent. In fact, I think we want more Glimmer of Genius in this particular matchup as well. Things we're taking out. Maybe 4 Ceremonious Rejection is too much. I guess this only hits the Torrential Gearhulks, and everything else it's kind of a whiff. So I guess the Dispels do their work there. But man, I feel like we want some number of Ceremonious Rejection for the Gearhulks. Yeah, this is just not a good matchup for us. Another card I can consider taking out is the Glass Blower's Puzzle Knot. Or rather the Wood Reaver's Puzzle Knot. Because we're not really looking to gain too much life versus this deck. They're not aggro, so the Puzzle Knot, while it does gain me life and energy, it's not necessary. And the replacement of Glimmer of Genius does that really, really well. Yeah, I think I'm going to add 2 Ceremonious Rejections, though. It feels like that's something that we want. This deck is all in on one plan, and against a control deck like the opponent's, it's just not particularly great. I think some number of Glint Nest can probably be cut as well, since we're cutting the Wood Weavers. In fact, maybe I just cut 2 of those and try to ship it like this. So yeah, let's submit this, and let's go to game 2 versus the Jeskai control list. Alrighty, here we are for game 2 versus the Jeskai control list. We are playing Matt Nass's Aetherworks Marvel list. We are down a game. Let's play again, and whoa. Pretty sure you can't keep a 6-land hand. Let's go down to, or rather a 7-land, yeah, 6-land hand on 7, so we'll go down to 6. And yeah, this is a happy keep. We have the Marvel in hand, an Attune with Either, and a Dispel to protect our Marvel on. I guess we'll probably wait until turn 5 to cast the Marvel. Granted, this is only 2 energy for us. And wow. If I keep the Glass Blowers on top, I won't be able to attune as early, but it does give me 4 energy total, which is enough with Attune with Either to give me the Marvel amount. So we're actually just going to play out a land and pass here instead of casting with Attune, because we want that that Puzzle Knot on top. Okay, so let's go ahead and cast the Puzzle Knot. Scry 2, get 2 energy. I think I'm going to bottom the Rejection and top the Forest. We want to hit a land next turn for sure. And what we're probably going to be doing is, again, waiting until turn 5 to cast the Marvel. If we're doing that, I guess I'm actually supposed to pass the turn here and Glass Blower's Puzzle Knot again to Scry 2. Gives us more mana next turn. Alright, so let's Scry 2 here. Hopefully finding another land. A hub is great, so let's... Actually, do we just top both? No, because we're going to be shuffling with the Attune, so... Top the hub because it gives us an energy, and it's a land which we need. And then Attune with Either. Get ourselves a... I mean, we don't need red versus this opponent, but... I suppose we already have plenty of... Well, no, we want a blue. Let's get a blue, since we don't need red. And now we set up for next turn, Marvel plus Dispel. Looks like the opponent's going to anticipate here. Oh, no, Spell Queller. Oh, Spell Queller. That's also something I forgot that they bring in from the sideboard. But with the opponent only on 3 lands right now, we get to resolve the Marvel, and I would assume be able to Dispel, unless they have another Queller in their hand, which would be terrible, but drawing that that backup Marvel is kind of nice. So please just don't have Spell Queller. But if you do, that's fine. All right, so we're going to Dispel their Rejection. Hope this resolves, and that they don't have another. Negate. Dang. Okay, well, they got through our first, and we got through 2 of their counters. Now we just need to try to avoid another on this next Marvel. Otherwise, we are going to be very, very sad. Alright. Well, Glimmer of Genius is not bad. I suppose I can pass here, use Glimmer of Genius, end of turn, and try to dig for another Dispel. Opponent's probably going to cast something here themselves, which... Oh, they didn't. Okay, so we get to Glimmer EOT. And hopefully hit something. But now they have Torrential Gearhulk mana, so... I'm kind of in a really bad spot. Let's see if this resolves. They have a... Looks like it might be a Void Shatter here. No, but they'd rather tap the 2 blue sources instead of the hub. Could be another negate as well, but again, I don't know why they wouldn't tap something other than the hub. Oh, they don't actually have an extra energy anymore. Never mind. They can't use the hub. Oh, that's actually really good. If they Void Shatter this... Okay, if they Spell Quell this... Alright, so let's... Man, if we hit a Dispel here... Oh, no, just to continue. I have to go for it. We're going to cast the Marvel. We're going to hope this resolves. Yes! Okay. So, I'm pretty sure we just do this main phase in case we hit like an Ulam or Emrakul. Top 6. Oh, yeah! There we go. Let's cast out Big Mama. Let's get the opponent's trigger. And now we can attack both of their Spell Quell, or rather, just one of the Spell Quellers into Emrakul. Eat it. And the opponent was holding a Void Shatter, Anticipate, and a Summary Dismissal. Okay. So, again, since they only have access to 1 blue, we can't cast Anticipate and counter it, but what we can do here is Anticipate, just find something terrible. Like, well, we don't want to get a Torrential Gearhulk, obviously. Wait, does this... Oh, and you can use this at any time, right? So we get the hub. We get the hub here. We put the rest on the bottom. We play the hub. We give the opponent an energy, but that's what we want to do. Put that ability on the stack. And then we can Summary Dismissal after we give them the energy. Yes, give you your energy. Now Summary Dismissal, using your energy. And all they're left with is a Void Shatter. We get to Glimmer of Genius here and eat one of the Spell Quellers. Nice, nice. And then we get to cast our Glimmer of Genius. Oh yeah, this is lovely. This is just lovely. Let's find some goodies. Do we want double contingency plan? The answer is nope. And we drew another Emrakul and an Aetherworks Marvel. Nice. So we get to pass here. The opponent has Void Shatter and 1 unknown in their hand. Seems pretty darn good to me. Alright. Trying a Dispel is obviously not terrible for us. Yeah, let's go to combat. I think I want to hit somebody for 13 here. We'll contingency plan now. And use a green-blue. Do they want to Void Shatter this? Really? Oh, they drew another Spell Queller off the top. Wow, okay. That seemed good for the opponent. So they have 2 Spell Quellers and they have a Void Shatter in their hand. But from this turn out, unless they draw, and we hope they don't draw Stasis Snare like Quarantine Field, this Emrakul is going to be an Abyss on those Spell Quellers. My hand is obviously very awkward. Looks like they did draw something to combat this, though, if they're attacking with both of them. Or maybe the opponent punted. They might have like a Immolating Glare in their hand and not realize that I can attack through it since Emrakul's protection from instants. What did you find? Oh, you found an Avacyn? No! I'm actually dead on board. Oh no! Wow, the opponent ripped. Back-to-back nice one. Oh, but of course Emrakul has trample. Alright. I'm completely silly. Emrakul tramples over for 9 damage, and we actually won game 2 versus a deck that, well, rather a hand that had a lot of counter magic from our opponent. Wow, I got scared there, not gonna lie, but thankfully Big Mama has a lot of words on her, and turns out trample is a good one when your opponent is already that low. So I think we're going to run it back, and I think we need to get a little bit lucky again in this matchup, but that was a great game, so let's go to a game 3. Here we are for a game 3 with Matt Nass's Aetherworks Marvel. We are on the draw this game, and our hand's pretty good. It doesn't have any counter magic, but we have time to get there. A few scry cards and draw cards in hand. Hey, and look, there's the dispel that we were looking for. So once again, we're going to go for that turn 5 Marvel, unless the opponent taps out beforehand. Rack up our energy, and, well, hopefully Marvel out one of the big Eldrazi. And remember, Marvel says you cast that card. Or rather, you may cast that card, which means you cast Emrakul, you get the trigger. You cast Ulamog, you get the trigger. Either way, it is absolutely great, and, ooh. Some nice cards here. Do we want the second Marvel? That is a good question. I think we can bottom the Ceremonious Rejection at this point, because it's 4 turns before the opponent has the Gear Hulk at the earliest. But this means I can go turn 4 Marvel, turn 5 Marvel with this spell. So I'm going to keep that other Marvel on top. And hopefully, you know, bait out the first set of counter that the opponent can muster up. A tap land from them is a good sign for me. Could just be holding up a negate or anticipate, of course, but it looks like they didn't anticipate EOT. And I would assume they pass here as well. Now, I don't have to do anything here. I could certainly just pass. But if I go ahead and Marvel here, that means they cannot use a Glimmer of Genius, which is now the turn they could do it. So I'm going to play out the Marvel, see what they got. Okay, they got a Void Shatter, which is good, because that means the artifact doesn't go to the graveyard for the Emrakul that I just drew. And with only 1 card type right now, Emrakul costs 12. Kind of scary. 5 mana from the opponent now. 5 cards in hand. Looks like they're going to cast a spell, though. Which is obviously a good sign, because if they don't hold up a Spell Queller... Oh, yeah. Wait. That's good for me, right? Okay, so they created Gideon and made a 2/2. To note, I don't actually have enough energy right now, but we're drawing some good cards here, so cannot complain. Ceremonious Rejection meets a Dispel. Now we still need, to note, 2 more energy, but we have a source on the battlefield already. And so if we get to untap with this, that's going to be great. Gideon bashing us for 7 is not so great. Uh-oh, and they're playing... Oh, they're going to activate a Fumarole. Okay, so the opponent's actually going to hit me for 4, 5, 6, 11 damage here? Oh, no. That leaves me at 9. Shoot. Okay. Danger. Danger mode. I think I Glimmer here and try to find a land. That way I can negate, and this also gives us 2 energy. That was bad. Okay, phew. We hit a forest, which is good. So I'm going to pass the turn here, see if the opponent goes to activate their Wandering Fumarole again. Yeah. Now, obviously we could miss with the Marvel. I do have enough energy to use it, but... Oh, shoot! This is sorcery only, isn't it? No, wait. Wait. Okay, never mind. It's anytime. Alright. For some reason I thought it was sorcery speed only, and I messed up, but it's not. Okay, so they're attacking with Gideon and presumably their Knight ally. We need to hit preferably Ulamog to exile stuff, but Emrakul does work. Alright. Ulamog. Cast Ulamog. exile. I could even exile land here since Ulamog, in theory, can just block it. And I think we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to exile one of their fumarals. Even if they cast Avaz here, that's not bad. We could just bounce off the Night Ally. If they cast a rejection, I get to try to counter it, which I assume they counter in return. But they did not. Ulamog resolves. We exile their land. We get to block their 2/2. Wow. That is insane for us. That is beautiful. I have 2 card types in my graveyard only. Yeah, this is a 2-turn clock, so we might as well attack with it, especially when the opponent only has 4 lands now. This is great. Oh no, Stasis Snare? Blessed Alliance? Oh no! Oh no! Alright, well, we got some energy. But that's silly. 3 card types in graveyard. Let's play the Vessel. We can use it immediately. Get another energy. Find a... I think we want another... Oh, I can't take the spell, of course. That's crazy of me. I guess we just want the land then, so we're closer to casting Emrakul. And either hub is a nice one for doing that. We're 3. So actually, we can Emrakul this turn. Because I sacked the Glass Blower's Puzzle Knot, we get 2 energy and then 1 from the Marvel. And we get to scry 2, which means we can put something nice on top if we see it. Oh yeah. So we're gonna bottom the Marvel, we're gonna top the Ulamog. We're gonna cast it right now while we have reject. Oh wait, this doesn't actually do anything, does it? And they have access to 2 blue, but we know they don't have Void Shadow because they would have already cast it out. Yes, so let's wait until their upkeep. No, that's irrelevant. Of course, we're just gonna do it now. I'm crazy. Let's hit an Ulamog. Let's hit OK. Let's cast the Ulamog. Let's exile their Wandering Fumarole and their Aether Hub, and the opponent concedes! Oh my gosh. One of the poorer matchups for us, but we drew really well, and yeah, we managed to get there. This Aetherworks Marvel deck is really great. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Remember, this one is particularly from Matt Nass, but there could be another Marvel deck that you play in the Pro Tour Gauntlet. Please check out the other matches. This one was great, so I hope the others can keep par with that. Thanks for tuning in.